I wanted to talk about crushes because somebody told me the other day on YouTube, and I won't say who, that somebody that they know on YouTube has a crush on me. And I thought I should not talk specifically about that, but talk generally about crushes and me and crushes and stuff like that. Because I'm a little weird when it comes to stuff like this. Here's a guide, let's say. Guide to what to do if you have a crush on me, whether it's a great big huge crush or just a tiny eensy weensy little crush. One, don't tell me. Seriously. Don't tell me. I'm so weird that way. I'm just maladept at people. And I think people sometimes underestimate how much, because I'm quite good at appearing fairly competent and in control and stuff like that. My teacher said to me when I was leaving my course that he felt I'd always stood apart from everyone else, and he didn't really understand why, and he wanted to break that down. And I think one thing that he didn't realise, and that a lot of people don't realise, is the simple act of communicating with people, not always, but often, stresses me out to an enormous amount. Having to think of what to say, and having to say the right thing, and it's like a social anxiety kind of thing. I just get tense, and I don't know what to say, and I don't really want to have to say anything. And I like it when I get to a stage with people where I don't have to worry about that anymore, because it makes interacting very difficult and very, very wearing. It tires me out. And I think that's what he didn't get, that having to constantly interact with these people that I liked. I mean, I really like the people on my course. Don't get me wrong, I think they're great and I want to be friends with them and stuff like that, but I don't know what to say all the time. And it's so exhausting. It really is. Having to do it right all the time. Because I'm not good at that stuff. I think it's an upbringing thing. I wasn't terribly social as a kid. I read a lot of books. My mother wasn't terribly social. I didn't witness a lot of adult interaction, blah, blah, blah. I could go on about it for ages. And I just don't know how to do that. And sure, from an intellectual point of view, you can learn, but it's kind of like you can't teach an old dog new tricks. There's certain things that I think you're supposed to learn at a certain age, and if you don't learn them at a certain age, they're very difficult to ever learn properly. And the minutiae, how do you say that word? Minutiae, whatever I'll write it down on the screen, of basic social interaction is something that I didn't pick up at the right time in my life, and now I don't know how to do it. Small talk. Just talk full stop. I mean, like I said, I didn't talk much as a kid. I read books. Throughout my entire life that's been the case. I went from being a very bookish kid to being a very bookish teenager to being an internet person who communicated a lot by text rather than verbal. I've always hated telephones because it's a purely verbal situation. And see, you're all sitting watching this video, watching words coming out of my mouth, and you're thinking, Marisha, why are you talking such crap? Clearly you're capable of talking. Yes, of course I'm capable of talking. And the only time I ever talk about this is when I am capable of talking, and therefore people think I'm mad. But the times when it's an issue, I'm not talking about it, so... Oh, God. Interaction is stressful for me, in a lot of situations, but not all. And even this talking to the camera stuff is stuff that I've had to work on, and I'm getting a lot better at, but I found difficult initially. It's easier because this is the kind of communication I'm best at. This sort of thing where I'm analysing myself, where I'm analysing life, where I'm talking psychologically or philosophically, or it's the more, and also talking one to one. Although I'm actually talking one to many, a person to a camera is in essence talking one to one. and there's no feedback, immediate feedback to deal with. The situations where I'm at my worst are group situations, hierarchical situations, situations where it's small talk as opposed to deep and meaningful conversation. Because, I mean, if someone comes up to me and says, "Hi, how are you? What have you been up to?" That's like my number one sentence I cannot respond to. I mean, I'm the most useless person. I can never remember what I've been doing. I instantly forget everything I've done in the last, year. And just, my instinct when someone says, "How are you?" is to be honest. And that's my instinct in most situations, and that's not how small talk works. You're supposed to say, "Oh, I'm fine," and I don't know what you're supposed to say after that. Stuff. You're supposed to say stuff that isn't, anecdotes and jokes and little stories and things that have been on the telly or something. I don't know. I honestly don't know what it is you're supposed to talk about. And all the things that I do are things that people I know, like the YouTube, people say, "How are you? What have you been doing?" Unless they're on YouTube, in which case they know what I've been doing because they've been watching my videos. None of it means anything to them, and they just, oh. And then there's the acting thing. I hate talking about my work. I've got along with all my other mental blocks, I've got a real mental block about talking about my work. I've got completely off topic here. I'm supposed to be talking about crushes. Crushes. Here's how I work. I meet people. Instantly I will decide whether I find them attractive or not, but that doesn't really mean anything. That just means, I think, that's like an aesthetic judgment. Are they pretty or are they not? And it's kind of irrelevant to how I interact, unless they're really amazingly mega hot. In which case, but no, even still, take the boy. Let's take the boy for instance. This is a dangerous topic because he does watch my videos every now and again. Maybe you won't know who I'm talking about. Take the boy. When I first met him, I was aware that he was an attractive man, but it didn't really mean anything to me. I didn't have a crush on him instantly or anything like that. I knew him for about 4 or 5 months before I decided that I was interested in him. And that's, depending on how often I see someone, that's kind of par for the course. If I see them a lot, it will take me less time. If I have, if I have a chance to have a decent conversation with them, it can happen in maybe a week or 2. But I need that level of personal interaction and physical presence to actually meet them properly, to decide whether I'm interested in somebody. And before that point, before I've been able to make that decision, I can't be told if they're interested. If they're not interested in me, that's fine. If someone, I can receive that information, that's not a problem. I can't be told if they have a crush on me. Because as soon as I know that someone that I either do not have a crush on, or have not got to the stage where I have a crush on yet, is interested in me, that's it. Everything's fine. Oops, I swore. I'll beep it over or something. Because I just can't deal with it. Something about it I just can't deal with. It makes me feel like I have to make a decision when I'm not ready to make a decision. It makes me feel guilty for not being interested in them yet. The thing is that once I find out they have a crush on me, it's very unlikely I'm going to be interested in them, even if I might have been other than that, because it panics me. And that stress will put me off them. And also there's some sort of messed up hierarchical thing going on where if someone has a crush on me before I have a crush on them, then somehow, I don't know quite how to explain it. It's really bizarre. I will look down on them for having a crush on me. And I don't mean consciously, it's not a choice. There's something in me, some insecurity or something in me feels like if someone has a crush on me, then obviously there's something wrong with them. I have to have a crush on them first, and then it's somehow that makes it okay. And then I have this whole other thing. So I have issues with saying no to people. about anything. Because I feel like unless I've got a really good reason to say no to someone, I should say yes for whatever it is that we're talking about. So I mean, someone asks me out on a date, which never happens, but let's say someone asks me out on a date, and I don't know them particularly well, and I don't find them attractive. Probably not so much now, but certainly in the past I would have said yes, even if I didn't really want to. Because I would have felt like, well, hold on. Okay, that's completely thrown me off the track. That was one of my extras agencies wanting me to go to Pinewood tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, which is a pain in the ass actually, because Pinewood's a pain in the ass to get to. But it's for something quite interesting, so. I changed the angle and everything, because while I was stopped I thought I'd take a look at what I'd done, and yeah, the angle was absolutely hideous. I'm doing this complicated mirror camera setup, and the reason for that is that I like to work with a camera hooked up directly to the computer, because then I don't have to use tape and it doesn't jump as much. But the angle, the length of the wire that connects the computer and the camera together, and the position I have to put the camera in for that, means that I can't actually have any light on my face, or any decent light on my face when I'm shooting. So if I want to face the window, which is directly opposite me at the moment, I need to face away from the computer and side on to the camera. So I've set up this mirror so that I can point the camera at the mirror, and I've got the light coming from the window, and hopefully the lighting will be better. So I was talking about not having good reasons to say no and feeling pressurised. If someone says, do you want to go out, and I already have something the night they're asking, then I'll say no. If I'm not doing anything that night, and I'm not dating anyone, which I never am, then I feel like I don't have a good enough reason to say no. I feel like the fact that I don't really want to go, that I don't know if I like this person yet, that I know I'll feel really uncomfortable, and then I'll feel really bad, and those don't seem like valid enough reasons. But they didn't used to. This is something that's gotten better, but although it's become less relevant. Let's just say I've got issues. That I'm socially maladept, often, though not always. That I panic at the thought of having to interact with someone who fancies me when I don't know if I fancy them. And part of the reason I panic is because I feel bad about not fancying them. And that panic will undoubtedly lead to me being uncomfortable around them, which sucks. 1. Don't come on to me unless I've already come on to you. And believe me, if I'm interested in you, it'll be fairly obvious. I'm not terribly subtle. In fact, I quite often just come out and tell you. So that's number 1. Number 2. Don't expect me to be the one to keep in touch. And I'm not talking about, relationships here. I'm just talking about people in general. I suck at keeping in touch. One of the reasons I have a live journal and a video log on YouTube is because I want to keep people in touch with what I'm doing, and I want to stay in contact with people. But I'm really bad at doing that on a one-to-one basis. Partly because it doesn't even matter why. I just am. I'm just really bad at it. I will never phone people because I hate the telephone. I mean, really, I have telephone phobia you would not believe. If you phone me, that's all right. And, well, I say that's all right. When you phone me, you're allowed to, if you have my phone number, feel free to phone me. I will probably be a bit useless on the telephone because I find it really difficult to talk on the telephone. But it'll be okay, and I don't mind. But I will never phone you unless I have a really specific reason to do it. If I have one specific question I really have to ask, I need to know the information, I will phone you and get that information, and then hang up as quickly as I possibly can, probably. Because I just can't talk on the phone, and phoning people is even harder. I feel like you have to have a reason to phone somebody. And because I'm not going to phone someone up just to have a chat, because I find chatting on the phone to be like a slow form of torture. So I'm not going to do that, really. So yeah, if I don't phone you, it doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means that I suck. Emails, I never email people unless I've got a reason to. And that reason is not, I want to stay in touch with that person. That reason has to be, I need to ask this person this question, or I need to tell this person this single piece of information. So yeah, I just that's why I video log. That's why I use LiveJournal, because I want to stay in touch with people, and I like most of the people I meet. And you know, I mean, I'm not one of these people that doesn't like people. I like people. I like most people. I'm just really bad at communicating that and at staying in touch. And I don't know where I'm going with this. Are there any more numbers? Was there a point to this? Anybody? Maybe I should just sing a song.
You know I've got no shame for what we are. It's a miracle.